Welcome back to Montana. In this video, I'm gonna kick off a short series on renovating the kids' bedrooms. So we've been working on these rooms on and off for a couple months, and I've compiled the footage into 3 videos that I think are gonna make sense. This first video is about what the rooms look like before, tearing out the carpet, we're repainting. One of the rooms also smells really bad of animals and other stuff, so I'll show you how we took care of that. So this is the way the room looked before we moved in. The curtains are gone, they were a little dingy. The paint was a little bit old and a little dingy, especially the ceiling. It didn't smell too bad in this room, even though they had animals. I'm pretty sensitive to that, and I didn't notice it being that bad. But after we moved in and the room had sit for a while, the smell was overpowering. It would take over the house, flow down to the basement. It was smoke, pets, and urine. It was really bad. It was so bad that I just ripped the carpet out right away and was hoping that that was it. But unfortunately, the floor was disgusting and it seemed that there's a lot of animal urine, hopefully soaked in. And so we had to find another solution. This window right here looks to the north and to the chicken coop. That wall behind my wife is a panel wall, and that's the only wall that had trim on it. And behind it is the boys' room. This wall right here to the right of my wife is where we want to put a closet. And behind it is a washer and dryer and a sink. I'm hoping to just utilize the area where the sink is to build a closet. We've moved the washer and dryer downstairs, but I'd like to keep that area up here and not mess with all the water lines and the electric and keep it for a potential buyer. Because this space is still usable as a laundry area. I just want to turn that sink area into a closet and kind of wall it in. So I was busy taking up the carpet on the stairs to the basement and doing those 4 trailer loads of trash to the dump. My wife kindly came in and began to pull up all the staples in this bedroom. I had done some of the hallway, I had pulled out the carpet and the padding, but what was really holding us back was getting all these staples out. She came in here like a champ and got it all taken care of. You can see here she's working against that panel wall, and that was the only wall that still had trim on it for some reason. So either way, we had to redo the trim in this room. The tack strip nails were all rusted, I'm assuming from that animal urine or other spills. You can see perhaps some adhesive still on the subfloor. Maybe that's what's troweled on there, I don't know, but this room was gross. No matter how much we aired it out, it still smelled. There were always fumes, I'll say, coming from this subfloor. So she really killed it here and did all this prep work. It really allowed me to get out and do a lot of the cleanup work. Here she is taking a much needed cheap iced coffee break. So this is that Kills paint. It was cheaper in a sense to buy 2 cans instead of 1 can. I think it was like $60 for 2 cans and $40 for 1 or something like that. But I'm glad we got 2 cans. The 1 can actually got us, I think, 2 or 3 coats on this room, which is about 10 by 14 or so, or 10 by 12 or so. She did 3 coats because even after 2 coats it smelled, and I think the paint is great, but this room just smelled so bad. So even after the 3 coats, there was still an odor. She did a sealed top coat of regular paint, and that pretty much did it. You can see that the paint kind of turns blue to start, and then as it dries, it turns white and eventually clear. There used to be an air duct in this room to a heater that's no longer in the house, so I'm going to plug up this hole a little bit here. That's pretty good. Should work. And just because I'm a little paranoid, I want to cover up all those holes, and I figure this won't be too big a deal underneath the carpet pad. But there's a couple holes over there too that I covered up. They were for the cable lines, and we don't need the cable running through here. This is the recycled paint I picked up from Habitat. You'll see when she opens it, it looks pretty gross and it needs to be stirred up. But for half the price of normal paint, I think around $15 a gallon, totally worth it. As long as you match batches, the color will be consistent. It went on smoothly. It covered well. So for doing these 2 rooms that we didn't want to put a lot of money into, they really freshen them up. There's definitely a limited selection of colors, and it's pre-mixed and pre-batched. But for the price and for what we were doing, we really couldn't go wrong. So I hate painting. I can do it, but I'd much rather be making something or fixing something. I don't know that my wife loves painting, but she did a great job. She knocked the girls' room out, our older son's room. She did the master bath, and then she's about to do the stairwell downstairs. When it comes time to paint the doors and the closets, we'll probably go with a more expensive traditional paint just so we can get the color that we want. If you're doing whites or a neutral color, you really should consider these paints. It also didn't help that it was pretty cold when she was doing all this, so that might account for some of the patchiness in the first couple coats. I think it might go on smoother in warmer weather, but when all was said and done, the finish was fine. This room would become our older son's bedroom. It's one of the older bedrooms in the house. It has wood paneling for walls. You can see some strange warping and damage. The closets I ended up taking out. But this room was really dingy, just in the paint was old, the carpet was old, the trim was just all messed up and half missing. It's a little bit smaller of a room, but it did have a nice sized closet in it. Thankfully, this carpet, although it smelled, was nowhere near the same level as the other room. When we pulled this carpet up, the floor only had a little bit of a smell to it, to where we almost debated putting the Kills paint on it. But out of prudence, we did it anyway, just to make sure. We figured it was up, might as well do it. That window looks out to the north as well on the chicken coop. This room also had this interesting border around the top. Nice little cowboy western motif. Certainly dated, and certainly would be fine for a little boy's room. Just coupled with everything else, it just felt dirty and dingy. So we felt a nice good coat of paint. Now, there's one of the previous owner's dogs right there, seeing what we're doing. But we felt it could use just some paint and cleanup along with the carpet to really just freshen it up. I also plan on redoing the shelving in the closet, as after move-in I'd rip them out to do some other things, and also to try and get the carpet out and do an easier install of the carpet. So again, my wife really hustled and got that wallpaper border off, as sad as we were to see it go. And she also, again, took care of all the staples and tack strips in this room. Huge help. We really tag teamed this one. There was a hole in this floor as well from the old vents that were unused, and so I sealed them up. You can see the floor is paint on it as well, and that's not from us, that was existing. So here's a shot of the chicken coops out the window. We want to clean these up, maybe paint the outbuildings, and certainly clean up the animal enclosures, as they were done kind of shabbily. Recently we bought this door lock. Door's locked. Recently we got this great recycled paint at Habitat for the girls' room, and it worked out really well. So we wanted to put a fresh coat of paint on the boys' room before we put that carpet in. So I'm gonna go over out to Habitat right now and get some. So the thing with this paint, obviously, is because it's recycled, they make it in batches. So you have limited color selection, and then you got to make sure you got to match the right batch, otherwise the colors will be a little different. That's to be expected, and that's fine, especially when I'm paying basically a half price for the gallon. I think they're $15 for these gallons. And we went wide with the girls' room. Again, we're just trying to keep it simple with this house. We want to sell it, so we don't want to spend too much money, and we don't want to yeah, I guess we just don't want to spend too much money. But so we're just gonna try and give it a fresh coat of paint, freshen the room up for the time that we're here, and hopefully it'll make it a little bit nicer for anyone who is interested in buying it. Got some tan. I'll see how the color actually is. I was a little iffy on the tan. I didn't want to go too dark. They had one that was much darker, but I just kind of wanted something that wasn't white in that room, and hopefully these will work out. 2 cans should be more enough. You probably get it done in 1 can, but we'll see. My big concern is that the room doesn't feel dingy, and that it goes with the carpet. And then while I was there, I looked in the back. Always got to look around when you're there, and I found this chair. Didn't have a price on it, and it was $5, so perfect little chair for the shop. Thought it might be good to have a little chair from working over here, cleaning the gun or working on something. Height's pretty good. Obviously this is kind of a standing bench, but I think that's good. I'm sometimes looking around to have a chair in here. So my wife just finished doing the 2 coats in here, and I think it looks great. Obviously the walls are not perfect, so they're gonna look only as good as the physical wall will look, but I think the paint looks good. The color is a little warm, it's definitely like a warm tan, but I think it's nice. I gotta put in the closet doors and redo the closet in here, the shelving, but carpet is next. So I think we're good to go for that. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more. We have more coming from around the house and else around the property here. And as always, may God bless you, and we'll see you in the next one.